Revenge, a dish best served with magic. What's up everybody, I'm Sparrowcus. Welcome to another GAGAS review, and today we're gonna look at Dishonored 2. We once again return to Dunwall, where once again everything turns to shit. Alright, it's been more than 4 years since Dishonored 1, and the first game just got a ton of Game of the Year awards back then. And I personally liked it very much as well. Now let's see if the Arcane Studios used the time well to once again create a world with magic, corruption, death and shadows. And of course, if you like this video and or my review style, make sure to subscribe to stay up to date with the newest GAGAS Reviews, the new standard in gaming reviews. Okay, this time I want to start with the story. And although I try to keep my reviews spoiler-free, I completely understand if in a story-driven game like that, you don't want to get spoiled in any way whatsoever, so you can skip right now. You can see the time where you have to skip to on screen, or you can use the link in the description to skip ahead. Alright, story. And I would like to start with, well, the beginning of the game and basically the first 8 minutes. And to be honest, things happen there where even the Flash would think, whoa, that was a bit fast, wasn't it? So basically how this game starts is 15 years after the events of Dishonored 1, we see through the eyes of Emily Kaldwin, the new Empress of Dunwall. And it starts with the, well, celebration of her mother's assassination. Yeah, as ridiculous as that sounds, that's not really the worst part of it. It gets worse just a moment later, when a duke from the south arrives with an entourage and a special guest. A woman that claims to be the older sister of the last Empress, and therefore the Empress of Dunwall. Of course, nobody has seen her before and she doesn't have any proof whatsoever, but still, except for Emily and Corvo, the two main characters, everybody in the room just basically believes her, and for the rest of the Empire, well, most of them do that too. So the beginning of the game is just so completely rushed and therefore also kind of feels ridiculous. And well, since this is the moment where you can choose between Emily and Corvo, it actually gets even a bit more ridiculous story-wise if you choose Corvo. Alright, that stupid beginning of the story aside, I have to say that the overall story is, well, okay. And the reason for that is because the story of Dishonored 2 kind of feels like a different version of the story of Dishonored 1. So you once again have a plot happening that you get, kicked out of your palace and everything just sucks, and you have a list of people that you have to kill or, well, take care of. And after doing that, in the end, either everybody is happy or everybody is dead. Now, that was about the main story and, well, the story overall. If we go a bit deeper in some of the characters that are presented in the game, it does look a bit better, but it often falls flat as well. Now, where the game just shines story-wise is all the exposition that we get in form of books and pictures and audiographs and so on. So if you are going to read a lot in this game, you have a lot of little stories happening and a lot of exposition that will help you to understand the world a bit better and what's happening around you. So all these messages and textbooks and so on, they were actually pretty interesting to read. And the story also gives you basically 2 main reasons to replay the game. For one, there is the beginning of the game where you have to choose permanently if you want to play as Emily or Corvo, which basically gives a different view on what's happening in the story. And then the other reason is, well, the end of the story where you, depending on your playstyle, where you either get a good ending or a cynical ending. And now I want to give a little teeny tiny bit of a minor spoiler warning, because I want to talk about my thoughts on these 2 different endings. Basically, they're not that much different from me. I would have liked it if there would have been a bigger impact on what you do or not. And honestly, you don't really care that much about it, because in my first playthrough that took me about 15 hours, where I was looking around in every space and doing everything and being as quiet as possible, as non-lethal as possible, after that, you're kind of relieved that you kind of managed to get that ending that you wanted in the way that you wanted to do it. And, well, there's also, if you go more action style, more direct and more in the shortcuts, you can do that campaign in, I would say, about 6 hours, and you could be even done if you're really, really quick. Maybe even faster. Alright, next up, graphics. And here we have to talk about 2 different things. And, well, let's start with the bad things. First, with the presentation of the game. And, well, while I was playing the game, a lot of things were just they felt weird. And there are moments of the game where you just, it just looks beautiful, the view and how everything is just displayed and how you can see it. It's just, sometimes there are moments where you think, wow, that's a beautiful game. While most of the time you're just like, yeah, that doesn't really look like, new graphics. Even on the ultra settings on PC, it didn't really flash me most of the times. And then there are even moments where it's just butt ugly. Seriously, it's just where you, oh my goodness, there you just want to turn around and run away. That's basically what you do. Well, I couldn't shake that weird feeling off me, so I took some research and I found out that the game is based on, well, not the latest game engine. And this is also probably why we have a couple of other issues like flickering shadows, probably the worst aliasing that you have seen in a AAA title as of late, and also frame drops that occur for seemingly no real reason whatsoever. I tested this game on my PC and personally I didn't really have that many issues with the game, but the forums and the internet is basically full with complaints and issues and also trying to fix the issues that you might have with the game, and these problems seem to occur across every platform, so be wary. So that was about the good, the bad and the ugly in the game, but there's also another thing to talk about if we talk about graphics in Dishonored 2, and that is basically the art style and level design. For one, Dishonored always had a beautiful art design of the buildings, the characters, and the items and so on. And well, to some extent it's also a bit weird. For example, they have so freakishly large hands, but that's for example something that you get used to. Other than that, it's really beautiful art design. And as far as it goes for the level design, it seems to me that they got even better since Dishonored 1, if I remember correctly, because now, well, for example, if you go into some apartment and you see all the stuff lying around and then you're thinking like, what the hell happened here? Why is this here? This feels kind of off. That is so weird. And well, as I said in the story section, a lot of exposition is made in texts and letters that you can find around. So if you enter an apartment, you want to find that letter to find out what happened here. Other than that, the world is filled with little things here and there. And of course, you notice that the levels are designed so you can hide behind that or climb on that or, use your magic to get up there and then jump down on your enemies and so on. And sometimes you even get into the weirdest dead ends in the game. But these are fairly rare. Normally, it's really great level design. And, well, why I think it's better than Dishonored 1 is, well, if I remember correctly, I think they used in this game the, well, how to put it, the verticality of the game a bit better in use. So you can look down on your enemies a bit better and have a better overview, stuff like that. Again, art and level design, amazing, once again, if not even better than before. Audio.
15 years ago, in the middle of a plague that nearly destroyed Dunwall, a paid killer assaulted the palace where I was born and stabbed my mother in the heart.
The very pinnacle of invention. Playback for unambiguous enemy. The machine.
You know something?
I swear, I know what I saw. Hooded. I just caught a glimpse.
I did it. Now to find Aramis Stilton.
By the street, brother. Isn't she the woman on the posters? Or the Abbey! I smell heresy on you! Who is... I'll cure the world from the outbeat.
Well, I gotta say, the music in this game is, if you play, for example, a stealthy game, almost non-existent. It makes a basically stellar job in not being present. I actually had to re-watch my stuff that I recorded to see, was there actually any music? I seriously, most of the time, I didn't really notice. And the stuff that I noticed was, well, not really that memorable. While on the other hand, we have the voiceovers in the game, and that you do notice very much indeed. Overall, the performance of the voiceover is really good, even though a couple of times it also varies between excellent and well above average. For example, I personally like the performance for Emily Caldwin, not so much for our evil aunt, the main antagonist, but overall the voiceover is quite good. And well, basically just walking around through the city and listening to some bad guys or civilians, you know, talk about the events, what's happening and so on, just eavesdropping. It's fun and entertaining. I like it. And of course, there are also sound effects, and they are great. Most of the time, even excellent. When you sneak around and you can hear and locate some guards walking around or civilians talking and so on, it's just often easy to locate the persons. Also during the battles, the sword fight or the gunshots, simply the sound effects are great. But there are some issues here as well. One minor issue that sometimes in the cutscenes the sound effects kind of feel off and are quiet or misplaced in a timely manner. But the bigger issue with the sound effects is actually sometimes the game seems not to know that there is a wall or a floor between the player and the source of the sound. Again, sometimes. Often it's really amazing, you know, you go around the corner and you hear them better. And if you are, for example, in an apartment building, you can hear people walking around and all the other sorts of environmental sounds are normally just amazing. But sometimes, as I said, the game doesn't notice that there is a wall between you and the sound effect, and then it becomes so loud even though there's nothing and nobody here that could make the sound effect, and you have just a bunch of noise coming out of the boxes and you think, what the hell is going on? What is that? So overall, great sound effects with this issue occasionally. Gameplay. Alright, now we're at the point where Dishonored 1 excels, and honestly, this is also the best part about Dishonored 2 once again. What we have here is a first-person action adventure, where you can choose between a more action or stealthy playthrough, but you can also choose if you want to go lethal or non-lethal. And I guess you can already see all the ways that the game offers you to play the game. And the best part is, it doesn't really matter what kind of a difficulty you use or what kind of a playstyle you use, or even what kind of a character you use, because you can choose between Emily and Corvo at the beginning of the game, and they have also different powers. The level design and what you have to do in this game, and also your powers, they just mix together perfectly in a symbiosis, so you can truly choose how you want to play the game the way you want to. And it is just great to walk through the game and then notice, well, I could go this way as well, or maybe I should do like this, and damn it, if I had this power I could do this and that. So the game encourages you to play the game once again with a different playstyle, and I think you can play this game at least 5 times, so you have a different playstyle, different powers, and well, there's also a no powers mode, which makes things a little bit more interesting, especially if, let's say, you want to go for the highest difficulty, no power mode, and you want to go with a stealthy, non-lethal playthrough. I think that is going to be quite hard, or at least for that you have to be very, very, very patient. But if you're not, well, go for an assault playstyle and go for a lower difficulty, or even stick with a higher difficulty and do a bit more sneaking, so you take out 1 or 2 guards before you go for full assault. And there we have it. You have just so many ways to play this game the way you want it, and it doesn't matter on how you play it. The game is prepared for that, and it's just great. Now, I was playing it on PC, so I had mostly keyboard and mouse, but I also tried it on the Xbox controller, and I gotta say, I didn't like it much on the controller because you have so many powers and options to choose from, but I think it's a bit more complicated on a controller. So on PC, I would stick with keyboard and mouse. And the final thing I want to talk about quickly are the powers that are in the game. So there's a slight pinch of magic in this game world, and this helps you in different ways to go through this adventure. So you have to collect runes that are scattered through the different levels, and then you can use them to unlock more powers. For example, far reach, and with that you can go on higher places or different places without being seen, to sneak up on people more easily or to distract them. And my personal favorite is the domino power. With that one, you can connect up to 4 NPCs together, and if you go and, for example, kill one of those NPCs, the other 3 will die as well. Just great stuff.
Even without eyes to look upon the world, I see so much.
Well, that gets us to amusement. And I would like to keep this one fairly short, because it's basically simple. It was fun as hell. Yes, the game has a couple of issues, sound and graphics wise, but overall, at least for me personally, those issues were not that much of a big deal. While on the other hand, the whole level design and how you can play it, how you can sneak around and find new ways and try to find ways to either sneak by or kill everybody, or you have to hide some bodies and so on, and you want to try the non-lethal way and you want to try the stealthy way. And you notice how much I used "and" because there's so much here. And it's good, and this part is good, and this part is good, and that makes fun, and this makes fun. And I already named the main reasons. You have so many ways to play the game, and it's just fun to go through the levels, either guns blazing or sneaking around, killing everybody or knock everybody unconscious, or basically not killing anybody at all, except for, well, your targets. So yeah, that's it for the amusement. So let's get over to the verdict. And well, the first reason why you should buy it is quite simple. If you like Dishonored 1, you will also like Dishonored 2. Because this game is basically Dishonored 1, just, you know, a couple of years later, and it tells a different story. Simple as that. It's just watching the sequel for a movie where you watched the first one and that one was really good. Well, it didn't really flash you that much, but it's still really good. Same goes here with Dishonored. But what if you haven't played Dishonored 1 yet? Well, what do you have to look for then? Well, I basically said it already. We have here a story-driven single-player game. So that is the first thing that you have to like about this game. If you don't like stuff like that, that game is no good for you. Now, also the game is built for trial and error. You will often walk around and save and then try something out and then hit the load button again or die and have to retry that to find the right way, the way you want to do it, or maybe also even the easy way. That is something that you kind of have to want for this game. Also, this game is for you if you like to sneak around and be patient and to watch the AI moving and see what they're doing and silently move through the area and maybe silently take some enemies out. If that is what you like, go for it. And finally, this game is especially for you if you like to play a game a couple of times and in multiple different ways. This game excels in that regard. Now, there's also kind of a big reason why you should wait before you buy, because, while I didn't really have much of an issue with this game on the technical side, as it looks on the internet, many people do. I just want you to know that you have to be wary about the fact that you might come across some problems if you buy it right now before the first couple of patches come out. Okay, now, when should you not buy this game? When should you skip Dishonored 2? Well, it's actually quite simple. As I said, this is a story-driven first-person adventure. So if you like more a third-person adventure or action shooters, this is not the game for you. Because even though the game encourages you to beat the game in different ways, the emphasis of the game is on stealth and sneaking. To some extent, you pretty much always have to do that. Sure, you can go in guns blazing on the easiest difficulty, but if you do that, that game is definitely not worth the full price. What I mean, for example, if you expect Dishonored 2 to be something like an Uncharted, where you have a lot of action going on, there's a boom left and right. No, this is not the game. The game is built on stealth, and so is the story that is developing around it. And while we're at the topic of Uncharted, well, Uncharted 2 and 3 had also a multiplayer, while Dishonored does not have one. This is a purely single-player game, so do not expect any multiplayer parts in this game. If you need a multiplayer in a game, hands off. Alright, that's it. That's the GAGAS review for Dishonored 2. I hope the review helps you to decide if this is a game for you or not. I would appreciate it if you like this video. Please press the like button down below. Put down in the comments what you liked or didn't like about this review or the game. I would like to hear your thoughts on both. Again, if you aren't subscribed yet, do so to stay up to date with the newest GAGAS reviews. And if you want to truly support this channel and GAGAS review, share this video with people who would like to know if they should buy this game or not, and who would like to know the new standard in gaming reviews. Anyways, thanks for watching and sticking around. Now please excuse me, my phone is depleted, so I have to recharge it with some whale oil.